All right, today's lesson is about polyhedra, sometimes called polyhedrons. I guess there must be two different ways to write the plural. We're going to start by just defining what they are. So a polyhedron is a closed 3D figure bounded by polygons. So each side is a polygon, which just basically means all of the sides are straight. They don't have any curves. We'll talk about shapes that have curves in the second half of the lesson. So polyhedrons are closed 3D figures bounded by polygons. So we have examples down here of lots of polyhedrons, but there's basically two types. This type over here is called prisms. This type over here is called pyramids. I think everybody is familiar with pyramids. Prisms isn't a word we use so much in day-to-day life. So what we normally would call a box is a type of prism. So if we just look at the prisms side, we name prisms based on the shape of their base. And so this one, if you imagine what the base looks like, what it's sitting on, if we sort of extend this out, it would be a rectangle. So this is called a rectangular prism. Now this one, we'll imagine it's sitting on this base down here, or maybe it's sitting on the other one. So all of the sides are rectangles, or sometimes they're parallelograms, but the base is these two sides that are parallel that are different. And so these two sides are triangles, so we call that a triangular prism. And then the next one we have to look and see, this would be my base down here, so we're going to count the sides to figure out what that is. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 sides is a hexagon, so this is called a hexagonal or hexagonal, depending on how you want to say that, prism. So the bases can be any shape: rectangles, triangles, hexagons, pentagons, squares, and you put the word prism on the end. And then what we call the lateral faces, which is all the sides that connect those two polygons together, are usually rectangles. So you can see what that looks like here. So the difference when we look at a pyramid is you have just one base. So this is the base on this one. It's sort of sitting on a rectangle. And so we would call this a rectangular pyramid. Rectangular pyramid. You can have a square pyramid. A lot of the ones that we think about have squares on the bottom. And if they want you to know it's a square, they'll mark the sides so that they're the same. But it's rectangular pyramid. And then this one, we can count the sides. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So the base is an octagon, so we're going to call that an octagonal pyramid. And what's different on these is the lateral sides, which are the sides that kind of make up everything that's not the base, are all triangles. Okay? So we have a little bit of space underneath this box. So prisms have two bases that are polygons, and then what we call the lateral faces, which make up the sides, are, I'm going to make this like bullet points. The lateral faces are rectangles. Over here for the pyramid, you have one base, and the lateral faces are triangles. There are ways that the prisms can be slanted a little bit. They change the rectangles into parallelograms, but it's basically the same idea. So that's just some facts about these two different types of polyhedra. We've got prisms, we've got pyramids. There are other types of polyhedra out there, but those are the ones that we're going to focus on as far as doing surface area and volume. So on the next slide, we're just going to go through and identify some shapes. So this first one is a box, just like we had. That would be a rectangular prism. This one is a pyramid, obviously, because it has that point at the top. The lateral faces are triangles, and so since the base is a rectangle, that is a rectangular pyramid. So you can definitely tell the difference between a rectangular prism and a rectangular pyramid. Very different looking. Okay, so on the bottom, these are a little bit tougher. So I can see a base down here and another one on top that are the same. They look like stop signs. They're octagons. This is a prism because I have two bases that are identical with the rectangles going around the sides. So this is going to be called an octagonal prism. It's not a pyramid. It doesn't come to a point, doesn't have triangles on it. So that's an octagonal prism. And then if we look at the base of this looks like a pyramid. It's got the triangles, comes to a point. So it's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 sides. So it'd be a hexagonal pyramid. And then this one always confuses people because of the way that it's drawn. But if you look, there is a rectangle here, a rectangle here, and a rectangle there. So it's got 3 rectangles on it. That can't be a pyramid. What they're trying to show you, I'll draw a different picture. It's like if I had a triangle like this that was spread out, sort of a tent shape. That's what this is. It's just set on its side, which is a little confusing. So it is a prism. It is a triangular prism. So that picture is just a little bit confusing. So remember that the prisms have rectangular faces going around the side, 2 bases that are the same shape, and then pyramids come to a point, they have triangles. And they can use any polygons on there that they wish, and so if you don't remember all the different polygon names like pentagon, hexagon, octagon, that would be a good thing to brush up on before you try to do the assignment. All right, the last part of this is pretty easy. These are non-polyhedrons, but they are 3-dimensional. These first 2 pictures are cylinders, and they can be slightly slanted, but we still call it a cylinder. The next set shows us cones, and the last one is a sphere. And I think these are ones that we are ingrained with in elementary school. We've just worked with them a lot. And there's like one more box over here where we're supposed to try to guess what they are. It's not too terribly hard. This is a cylinder just set on its side, and this is a cone. And that concludes our lesson.